welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try enforcing some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 865 of the Trinity Force Podcast. I am your host, N.A. Erik, and tonight it is myself and Colin, and we are going through the latest patch to Hit the Rift 14.23. I don't know, not really much else to say. It's pretty straightforward what we're going to be talking about. But before we get into that, Colin, it's been a few weeks since the listeners last heard from you. What you've been up to, why you've been off the radar, how you doing?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on the podcast for sure, and it's great to hear that amazing intro again. I'm kind of busy over the past little while. Just finishing up a paper for school that was pretty important. Basically, I finished the paper, I passed the class, and I did well on it.
Good shit.
Spent a good amount of time on that, so that was good. I was hosting every Saturday. I've been hosting a D&D session for my group of friends as well, so that's kept me busy preparing for that.
Nice.
And then one of my friends from he used to live nearby, but 2 years ago he moved off my small island of Prince Edward Island to the mainland.
He moved to the mainland.
He was visiting, so spent some time with him.
Nice.
And it was good to see him. That was nice. League wise, not playing too much. I've been playing a decent amount, but my last run through of games was AP Yasuo with maxing E. It's not that great. I don't suggest anyone do it, but it was fun, and I guess that it is a game. So
you know what? As long as you had fun, that's what matters.
Exactly. My teammates didn't always have fun, but I tried.
So what do you build with AP Yasuo?
Well, to start off, I was going electrocute, and you start E, because your level 1 damage is very high with Yasuo. So as long as you E3 minions and then the champion, it gets empowered per each.
Because then it does 200% extra damage, right?
Oh, it does. 60% more damage, I would think. That's what it is. Or that might just be the scaling. Either way. It's really good, and you go electrocute for that burst of damage, and you just run back through the wave. But it doesn't scale as hard. You really need to get ahead with it. Compared to falling behind.
Sure.
If you fall behind, you're just kind of useless.
Yeah.
I'm just looking forward to the 2025 season. I think I'm gonna try pretty hard at rank here, and my goal is to play Yasuo, Aurora, which I'm enjoying a lot, and I'm trying to find that third champion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thinking mid lane?
Yeah, mid lane.
Gotcha.
For sure.
Okay, nice. Yeah, the damage that goes up on the E, I just looked it up, is 17. At rank 1, it's going to be 17.5 per stack, so 4 times that is, I don't know. I'm not where it works, so I don't have to do math in my head. 70.
70. What?
17.5 times 4.
Oh, because it would be 80. All right, yeah. You're right. My math skills were.
But at max rank, so at level 9, that is instead 162% extra damage, or 162 bonus damage, not percent bonus damage. Okay.
But yeah, I was building since you asked, Lich Bane, Nashor's Tooth.
Yeah, I figure Nashor's Tooth probably could be pretty decent, because you go Berserker's Nashor's. It's probably fine for early game.
And then definitely start with that Dark Seal, hoping to get ahead.
Cool.
But yeah, that's what's up with me. How about you, Erik? How you doing?
Well, before we get to me, I'm curious, what was the paper that you were working on? What class is it for?
Oh, that was for. I'm just finishing up some electives before I get my diploma.
Sure.
And this is an island studies class. So since I take business, and that's kind of my background. I just did it on tourism and the economy of Prince Edward Island, and then just compared it to that of Hawaii, and just talked about the strengths and weaknesses, compared them against each other.
Okay.
Talked about some strategies that you can like take from the other.
I like it. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, that was good.
Very cool. Well, since you did ask, thank you for asking, because sometimes I just have to talk about myself unprompted when someone else is done talking about themselves. But
I know you don't mind doing that, though.
no, I don't mind doing it at all. Yeah, I've been good. Yeah, just work, and then I've been playing a decent amount of League. I've also been playing, as always, I play EU4, but I've been playing a modded version lately. Which, if you're interested, it's what the hell is it called? Antebellum is what it is. So the alternate history. I mean, there's like it's alt history, but it works basically the same as the regular game, just with alt history. The scenario is that I mean, there's different scenarios around the world. Like Zoroastrianism never died out in it, and then like the Crusaders actually won the Crusades, and they held on to the Holy Land and to a couple extra places. Stuff like that. The Ottomans never rose up. The uh, for when the Battle of Manzikert happened in the late 1100s, which destroyed the Seljuks. That never came to fruition either. So the Seljuks still exist and shit like that. But then like the Reconquista in Spain completely failed, so it's controlled almost entirely by Andalusia. So there's like stuff like that. There's all sorts of other things happening in like East Asia. Um, they're working on things right now for in the Indian subcontinent area and Southeast Asia. There's also like and they're also working on things in sub-Saharan Africa as well, because there's not a ton outside of East Africa has a little bit, and then like the Maghreb all has different stuff, but other than that, it's vanilla style Africa. So I'm curious to see what they do with it. It's a pretty sweet mod, so I've been playing that. Yeah. I also played through in the last like week or so another hour or 2 hours or so of Song of Nunu, and I'm excited. I'm almost towards the end, which I know because I picked up like a collectible, and the collectibles, if in that game, it's like there's murals are one thing, and there's I don't know, let's say there's 10 murals. I've found like 3 because I didn't know they were a thing for a while, and I've also just been like I just played through it for fun. Next time I'll play through and like also enjoy the game, but try and find all the collectibles. But I picked up a collectible that was like I picked up a mural that was like the 8th or the 9th out of 10 because it shows like locked, 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 and then I got one, and then locked, lock, and then it's like it shows the one that I got. So I know I'm close to the end of it. Also, narrative wise, I can tell I'm close to the end of it. So yeah, but I've done that, and yeah, I have some family that were gonna be coming in this afternoon or this like early evening or so for in anticipation of Thanksgiving, but they're on the West Coast, and there's like a huge torrential rainstorm, and they're calling it like a bomb cyclone, and I don't know, an atmospheric river, and basically like the Pacific Northwest is just getting absolutely hammered with rain and really high winds and kind of hurricane E conditions, but not like it's not a real hurricane. So their flights have been delayed. I might have to go if my sister is able to fly out on her flight. I will probably have to drive out to the airport at like 2:30 in the morning to go pick her up.
What are brothers for?
Yeah. I know. Yep. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, I have played some League. I'm up into.
Real quick.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
Canadian question here. When is your guys' Thanksgiving?
Yes, I know Canadian Thanksgiving is different. So, American Thanksgiving is, I think it's the last Thursday in November generally. I know it's this year it's the 28th.
Yep.
Canadian Thanksgiving is in October, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was the 14th or 7th?
You're asking me.
I can remember. Gosh, yeah. I asked you and don't even know my own.
But yeah, that's when it is. So I'm decently excited. I don't really care for white people Thanksgiving food. I think it's really boring, generally, but whatever. I'm there for the family, not for the food. I'll still eat like mashed potatoes and stuff, but you know. Cool. Well, let's get into this patch though. So 14.23 went live yesterday because we're recording on the 21st of November, so it came out yesterday. I have already played on it a little bit, but it's semi-large, semi-not large. So, first thing is Ambessa. So her Q cast window has been increased. Whenever you hit anything with her Q, you get another cast of the Q, but it's like a different kind of Q. So whenever you hit with the first one, you used to have 3.5 seconds to use the other one. Now you have 4 seconds. Just a slight quality of life increase, which is also a buff though, realistically. And then there are a couple of bug fixes. That one of them, she can no longer dash over player created terrain, so I guess she could dash over a Nivea wall and other things like that, and she's not supposed to be able to with her passive. And then her R, there's a bug fix where movement commands issued before a successful cast will be discarded after slamming the enemy to avoid pathing the player towards a place they are no longer near. I don't 100% understand that, but that's what the change is. Yeah, have you played Mbessa at all? Have you tried her?
Yeah, I played her once in a Norms game and once in ARAM. It was honestly, I did not succeed. It was it was pretty tough with the dashes and figuring out what everything did. But to me, it felt clunky. But I think that was just because I'm bad. But because I've seen quite a bit of gameplay of it, and there's a lot of damage in that kit and a lot of like she's very good at sticking on people.
Yeah,
I don't understand that change as well.
dude, I thought she was bad when she came out. I've also played her in. I don't know if I've played her on Summoner's Rift, but I played her on ARAM, and I've played against and with her a lot because she's very popular right now. As every new champion is. Well, actually, when Smolder came out, he wasn't that popular. Now that I think about it, but like generally, yeah, she though is. I'm realizing that she's broken. She's straight up broken. Pair her with 1 or 2 enchanters. Good luck. It's like trying to take down a Xin Zhao or an Olaf with enchanters. It's disgusting.
Yeah, the shields are insane. They're that what is it, the W or the E? Very high.
Her W, yeah, that shield is huge.
Yeah, for a level 1 ability too, like, and it scales well. I think it scales with AD.
Bonus AD, yeah, and base level as well.
So much.
Yeah, I know. It's
and people
disgusting.
build Eclipse a lot. Is what I've seen first item.
Yep. She like synergizes so well with Eclipse too. Yeah. Yeah, it was in a Norms game where we had it might have been yesterday, but I think it might have been community night. I'm not sure if you were in it or not. You might have hopped out by that point, but um I was playing Seraphine bot lane, then we had a Soraka bot lane, so we played Seraphine Soraka. And then we had Grandma was playing Lee in the jungle. We had an Ambessa, I think we had an Ambessa. And then I don't remember who our mid laner was, but it was just like they could not ever take her down or leave for that matter too. It was absolutely gross. She was just wrecking through everybody. So, it's also worth noting that let's see. So last patch, her win rate was 47.6, and that's pretty decent for being out and being kind of complex as she is. To get up that high, she's already at 50% win rate. So she's too strong.
Yeah, for especially people are not good on her right now. So
yeah, exactly. Yep. Also, for when she's not jungling, she takes jungle camps way too fast.
That's surprising.
She mows through them. Yeah. Yep.
Those Krugs in your top side.
Seriously, she actually has a 52.7% win rate in mid. That's disgusting.
I have not seen that yet. That is high.
I've played against Ambessa mid myself, and I was the mid laner against her, and then I've also played on teams where she was the mid lane against. It's gross. I think she is probably like a bruiser, like a Silas mid sort of style. In top lane, she could just get bullied out too much, I think. So, okay.
Right. Well, I'll hop into Aurora here.
Yep.
So the passive is being changed. They are removing the fact that spirits grant movement speed, so you will not get bonus movement speed from that. The Q, the cooldown is being changed. It used to be 8 seconds scaling down to 6, and now it's 9 scaling down to 7. The cast range is going from 850 to 900. And then the cast and recast damage is being increased by 5 for its base damage each level. And new. And now automatically recast if the duration runs out without Aurora recasting it. So before on Aurora, if you hit someone, you need to press Q to do the second casting of it, but now it automatically happens. So that's just a little quality of life, and you won't miss that. W across the veil is now getting some movement speed, so it now grants 20 up to 40% movement speed on cast. So moving that movement speed from the passive to the W. The E range is going from 800 to 825, and then the R's has a few changes. The duration used to be 1.5 to 2.5 seconds, and now it's 2.5 to 4 seconds.
Jesus.
They removed the fact that it traps enemies inside, and that they would need to have like a flash or some type of dash over a blink. And now it slows people by 75% when they exit the circle for 1.2 to 2 seconds scaling on level. And then they also added that it now grants the same amount of movement speed granted by W instead of amplifying Aurora's current movement speed. Okay. I mean, I think this is. I mean, there's a buff and a nerf here. I think the movement speed being taken off the passive is a nerf because
Totally
I definitely
is.
felt like you were just so fast with Aurora's passive. You sped around the map and could kite so easily once you got it stacked up. But the increased range is really big. I'll say that. That's huge.
Yeah.
As well as the alt changes. I think the alt changes are good for Aurora. That being up for 4 seconds is much better.
Absolutely. I also think this is a good change to push her away from top lane as well, because if she's not getting the move speed on her passive anymore, she's going to be a lot more susceptible to someone actually getting on top of her in top lane.
Yeah, because honestly, Aurora top lane has been a bit of a menace when you see it up there. People take grasp, and you can never catch up to Aurora or get on her. Very difficult.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I played one game of this, and I mean, I didn't do very well because the Zed got fed by other people on my team, so that was rough. But the range did feel really good. I will say that. Like you can notice it on the Q for sure.
Okay. Is now that the move speed is on the W and it's additional based on
the R.
Well, the move it's on the R as well, but it's also on the W. Instead of being on her passive, I mean, is it worth W being your second max? Because Q is going to be first max always. Is it worth instead making W your second max as opposed to E, or no?
It's definitely the same max in Q, E, W. Just like the base damage goes up too much in my opinion. Like that's the only thing that actually scales, except like cooldown goes down, like your base damage goes up by 160, and that's a lot when you're trying to burst down people. Because the only thing you get, let me check. Yeah, the only thing you get from leveling up your W is a cooldown reduction and longer invisibility time.
Well, it will be now it is also now the move speed too.
Yeah, and the movement speed buff, yeah. True. But yeah, I just don't like for the amount of times that you're casting it, like it goes down to 18 seconds at level 5, like that's too long to rely on that.
Sure.
I think it's still the same maxing.
Sure. Good point. Okay. I don't have anything to add. I haven't played much Aurora, but win rate wise, she has gone up 1.5%. Yeah, 1.5% at this point. In mid and top is about 1%. So she is just better. She also is going to be less permaban in pro because now you can walk out of it. Her ult.
Oh, so there's a nice slow on that, like 70% slow, still nothing. Like that's still pretty strong.
It's a big deal, and it doesn't decay either. That's 75% for 1.5
seconds.
seconds, 2 seconds the whole time.
Slows are tough to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, not being able to move out of the circle is tough.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Well, I will move on to Azir. So Azir is getting a change to his W. The AP ratio has been increased. Nothing else on the champion has been increased. So the AP ratio on the W before was 35 to 55% AP. Now it is 40 to 60% AP. Azir has been, for lack of a better term, trash for quite a while, and they wanted to make sure that he wasn't again pick ban at Worlds for the last like 3 or 4 years like he was, and it worked. He wasn't at Worlds at all. So now they're rolling some of that back because they have time to play with it and get Azir where they think they want him to be before the next pro play season starts up in like a month and a half, 2 months. So yeah, I mean that's really it. This is this is a good buff for him, because this is 5 extra AP, 5% extra AP on every single time the soldiers are doing damage, which is a lot. Uh, he's already gained 1.6% win rate, and his pick rate has doubled. So he's realistically better than 40. He's 48.5 right now in Emerald Plus. If I drop this to Plat Plus, he's almost 40. He's 48.5 as well. Because his pick rate doubled, he definitely is going to be like almost a 50% win rate champion, which is scary.
Yeah, Azir being strong is quite terrifying. That like just the damage and the range with his soldiers is very high, and then the R is just so game changing.
Yeah, if
That's like
someone knows how to maneuver, like be able to get around with him and when to use R, it completely warps the perceived range and the zone control that you can or can't have in a fight. It completely changes the fight.
very true. Yeah, with his full combo, if you know how to do it, like
Hmm.
I mean, we seen what is it, Faker do it last year in at Worlds.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll also just go into Caitlyn as well. Caitlyn is getting a nerf, so the R damage has been decreased. Apparently, she's too strong overall, so it's not her base damage, it is her bonus AD. So the R bonus AD was 150% of her bonus AD, now it is 100% of her bonus AD. So that's a very big nerf to how much damage the R is going to do. That being said, late game, Caitlyn R was doing 2/3 of someone who's not a tank's health when they're full health, which is just disgusting. Um, this is also because Yuntal, which is, they think, a good item for her, getting significant buffs. They need to balance her out in that way. But Caitlyn was, yes, she doesn't have a great win rate, but that's mainly because, well, okay, this patch so far, she dropped uh, to like 1.5%, but she's picked in a quarter of games and she's banned in another quarter of games. She's in half the games she's picked or banned. So even if she doesn't have a 52% win rate, doesn't mean she's not OP.
yeah. No, I played Caitlyn the couple days ago on an ARAM, and holy, she does so much damage with that R. I'm glad it's nerfed. Like playing that felt so disgusting.
Yeah.
Like 150 bonus AD. Like that's
Plus,
with already it's 700 base at level 16.
yeah,
What?
plus she gets extra 50% based on her crit strike chance.
That's so good.
It's such, I mean, it should be because you're vulnerable and stationary for 2 seconds, I would bet.
Yeah.
Second
Great
and
way
a
to open
half.
a fight too. You can just push someone out of the fight before it even starts.
Totally.
If no one can block it. Yeah.
Totally. Yep. So definitely warranted.
The arcane nerfs coming in this patch.
Yep. And we're getting another one. Do you want to go through Jinx?
Yeah. So Jinx's base stats are being changed. The attack damage growth is going from 2.9 to 3.15, and her W, the damage is being nerfed. The base is staying the same, but the total AD ratio is going from 160% to 140%. So 20% less there. Not as bad as Caitlyn at all, especially with that the base stats. We know that doesn't mean too much. Um, but I feel like Jinx is strong right now. Like you get one kill or assist on Jinx, and then you just win a team fight. Seems to be fairly common.
Yeah, plus there was a very viable build for her to go collector into just a bunch of lethality items too.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Which I'm not a fan of that version of Jinx. I mean, it can be fun, but
It shouldn't be viable in Summoner's Rift. In ARAM, go for it. And that's how I play it in ARAM, go for it. But Summoner's Rift, it should not be good. I've been yet to see someone pull out lethality Jinx mid with Hail of Blades though. Because then you take your Q start and then you just rocket them 3 times. That's a lot of damage really fast.
that would be.
I've done it before. You're very vulnerable, but it's kind of fun. It's not great though.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll take us in the Kazakhstan.
Cool.
So his base armor is going from 36 to 32, and his W, the evolved W slow to isolate targets, is being changed from 75% to 60%. So yeah, I guess they're just saying here, right, saying that he was a top tier jungler for a while and was performing a little too well, and they're just trying to take a bit of power off. The slow on the W, honestly, it was very strong playing against it, especially because like you can't miss it essentially.
It's very hard to miss it. It used to be 90% 2 years ago or so.
Ooh, that is tough.
Yeah.
Sure, this will hurt him a little bit, especially like, that base armor does matter in the early game.
It does, because he doesn't have a great first clear.
Sure, so he.
Yeah, I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not great.
Not great.
Yep. His win rate dropped.
Invaded.
Yeah, and his win rate's dropped 1.5% as well, down to 49.8, and he's still decently popular, and he's still being banned decently often. Warranted though, because Kha'Zix has been very good for a very long time, and he's still good. It's just you can't blind him nearly as much. He's not as adaptable. He's more vulnerable. Pick him situationally when it makes sense.
So Eric, gotta ask. I know sometimes it can be game dependent, but which order do you evolve your skills in usually?
Usually Q first, almost always. Then W, or you could go R if you're not gonna be needing it. Your W. You also, if you just need to get, like, if they have a bunch of range, they don't have any melee, you could go E to just jump on them. But it's Q always needs to be evolved. There's no world where you're going W, E, and R in some order and never evolving your Q.
Very true.
Yeah, I almost never evolve E when I play it. I go Q.
Really?
And then W, and then if I get to 16R, or I might go QR if they're quite slippery and I need to be able to get onto them, or I need to be able to get onto them from further away, because the R, when you evolve it, you're in stealth longer and you get a bigger move speed hit too, and there's 3 of them, so as opposed to 2. So yeah, I'll go QR, but generally QW is the safe way to go. Yeah.
Okay. I find that in ARAM I always evolve W, but I find in norms W is the one that I skip out on.
Really? Okay.
I like that extra invisibility. Like you get a lot of invisibility for that 1 point.
Oh, totally.
Like Q damage, you just need it. Like you're saying, you can't not take Q evolve.
So
and then I like the jumping around with E.
Yeah, I mean the jump is fun to just reset on takedowns, and you jump way further and it does slightly more damage. But I think like the E evolve, the E evolve to me feels like a win harder evolve, because with W you can, so with normal W it doesn't reveal anybody. with upgraded W, it does reveal them, and there's 3 of them, and it does more damage, and it slows them more. Well, it actually applies a slow. So it allows you to check into fog. That's why I really like the W evolve.
I didn't know about the reveal, honestly.
Yep.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I like what you said there about like E's definitely more for when you're trying to snowball.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyways, you want to take Kog'Maw here?
I would love to take Kog'Maw, the Void Puppy. Okay, so Kog'Maw's Q resist shred has been adjusted, and the E damage has been decreased. So the Q used to reduce 23 to 31% of armor and MR if you get hit by it. Now it is 16 to 32%. So it's less shred all the way until your last point, and then it's 1% more. But level 1, it's 7% less percent shred. Not necessarily a huge deal because no one has a lot of armor and MR at the beginning of the game, but just something to think about. And then the E, the damage was 75 to 255, now it is 70 to 230, and the AP ratio went down from 70% to 65%. So Emax AP Cog apparently has been taking over bot lane, and it's been one of the best bot lane picks for it's been a while now. It's just you don't really see it, but you just slaughter waves. It's a better Ziggs in a way. Pair that with Nami or pair it with something that can augment your poke as well, and it's disgusting. So it needs a nerf. I remember Goose talking about he's played with it and against it, and he hates playing against it, and it's like one of his favorite things to play with right now. So this will push it down slightly, but it's not going to take this out of being a thing. It's just going to make it less it's going to make it less oppressive.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly okay. Especially with how easy it is to hit the E. Like, it doesn't need that much damage on it.
Also, the slow is huge on it.
60%?
40 to 60. So level 9, you're slowing someone for... And that stays on the ground for 4 seconds, too.
Yeah, and you can just literally fight someone in that for that whole 4 seconds.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And I think for AD Cog, W, yeah, it's W then Q. So on both versions of Kog'Maw, Q is your second max. So by level 13, you're actually buffed in terms of Q, but AD Cog doesn't really suffer at all from the E nerf. I mean, yes, there's a little bit of base damage, but he's not using that for the 25. He's not using it like, oh, I need to kill someone, so I'll use an E. Oh, it does 25 less damage at level 5. That's why I didn't get the kill. That's not why AD Cog doesn't get a kill.
True.
Yep. Okay, I'll just take Yi since it's right here and it's pretty easy. So Master Yi is getting a slight buff. Well, it's not slight actually. His R attack speed when he activates it was 25 to 45% bonus attack speed. Now it's 25 to 65. So rank 1, no change. Rank 2, you're now getting the previous rank 3 bonus, and then rank 3, you're getting an extra 20% off of what the previous rank 3 was before. So that's a pretty big increase for this. This is keeping him away though from lethality Yi and more crit heavy Yi. This is definitely an on hit buff. He has, I think, felt kind of weak. I haven't seen Yi in so long.
He definitely doesn't come up near as often these days.
No,
that's for sure.
But now he's up above a 50.6% win rate. So he's above the 50% watermark again.
That's actually kind of terrifying with E, in my opinion.
In Emerald Plus, yeah.
Because there can definitely just be games where like you just can't do anything against the EU if he gets ahead.
Yep. Totally.
And those late games are just that much stronger.
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying. But take some solace in the fact that up until level 10 and below, he's the same champion as he was before. Yeah. So just end the game before he hits level 11.
That makes sense.
Yep.
It's easy. Okay. I'll head in the misfortune here, if you're good. Okay, yeah. So the Q mana cost is being reduced. It was 43, scaling up to 55, and now it is 40 at all ranks. So not much to say there. Just a little bit less mana. So you get to stay in lane a bit easier. And your items are more
0.3% win
expensive to
rate
catch.
increase, and that's it.
It's surprising because, like, I mean, if you built lethality MF, which most people did, but those also got nerfed, as we'll talk about.
Hmm.
But I'll go right into Rammus here.
Hmm.
So that's a small change. So the cooldown has changed. It was 16 to 6 seconds, and now it is 12 to 6 seconds. So well, Rams has gotten some nerfs with the Thornmail changes recently, so I could see some more power wanting to go to him, especially that early game 4 seconds off your Q. That is really big, especially in those early game fights.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I haven't played him in a while because I don't think, yeah, unless there's a lot of auto attackers, he doesn't feel great. But even then, like, I could just play something else and be totally fine. Like, I'm not going to benefit that much from Rammus. Um, but his win rate did jump up 1.5%. So this did help. He still is not, he should realistically be like a 52% win rate champion. He's at like 50.4, but I think he should be that high because he situationally is very good, and in situations where it doesn't make sense, he's terrible. So,
Yeah,
uh,
he should really only be picked later into the draft once you see at least like 3 auto attackers, and then if your
exactly,
jungler hasn't picked yet, you just go Rammus.
exactly, yep. And I don't think this might change. So before it was Q and then maybe E, maybe W, depending on what you needed, but probably Q, E, W was your max order. Um,
For sure.
you probably still want Q, but you could do a couple points in E and then like go 3 points E, then max Q. I don't know. I'm just trying to think about it. As someone who's played a lot of Rammus, this is intriguing.
I mean, for shorter fights, what you're saying is definitely right, but for fights that you think might be prolonged, I'd go for Q because like 6 seconds cooldown is insane at level 9.
Yeah, it totally is. But do you need it to be that low?
Um, it just depends how the fights are going. It'd be hard to like tell early on like how fights are gonna go if they're gonna be long or short. But I'd say for ganking, I like what you're saying, but for playing around objectives, I feel like Q would be better.
Yeah, maybe it's just worth going a couple points in W then instead. I don't know.
It's W max for Rammus top still. That's all I know.
Yep. And this helps Rammus
That
top a
does not
lot
really.
too.
It does. Straight.
I wonder how that win rate changed. Well, it doesn't have a play rate enough of stats yet. So,
The boss FFS must have stopped playing it.
yep, he must have.
Yeah, that's all I have to say on Rammus. If you want to take this essay that is Rel, yeah, I'm leaving
Oh,
it to
how
you.
kind of you. Sure.
Yeah, all
Uh,
I'm playing.
okay, so Rel, base stats, passive, Q, W, and E adjusted. So TLDR, her R is the same. Okay. No, so a bunch of her base stats have been changed. The big ones that I think are her armor and MR growth has it's gone down. Her movement speed is down to now she's a 315 base movement speed. I think that's the slowest champion in the game. She's getting a little bit more attack speed though, so there's that. Her passive, so now it deals 5% of your total armor and MR magic damage on hit every time you auto. And the minimum resistance is stolen was 0.8 to 2. Now it is 1 to 2. Okay. Her Q, the Shattering Strike stun duration was 0.75 seconds. Now it's 0.65, so a tenth of a second less long of a stun. The W, now it'll stun enemies for 0.8 seconds, the crash down. And it's removed that once you dismount, you used to be slowed for, or you used to slow them for 10%. Now that's been removed. The cooldown on the crash down was 11, now it's 10 seconds. The knockup duration was 1 second, now it's 0.4. So overall, you're CCing them for 1.2 seconds if you combine the knockup and the now stun, as opposed to just a knockup of 1. That being said, someone can cleanse or QSS or Mikhail's or something out of it. So it's not at, because knockups were the one thing that could not be reduced or cleansed out of before. Also, when she is dismounted, her armor and MR percent increase was 12, now it's 15%. And the attack speed, though, was 30%, now it's 20%. Some of that's offset by she has extra base attack speed numbers and then base attack speed scaling as well. Her W, the mount up, when you hop back on the horse, the cooldown was 11, now it's 10 seconds. The knock-up duration has not been changed. The stun duration was 1 second, now it's 0.6 seconds. And then the mounted movement speed, so it was 335 to 380 out of combat. Now it is 332.5 to 355 in combat. Levels 1 to, well, I guess that's what it is now. So it's 335 to 380 out of combat. Now it's 332.5 to 355 in combat. Levels 1 to 13. So it stops scaling at level 13. And also there's some mounted move speed based on ability rank. Oh, so that's what it used to be before. I'm sorry. I totally fucking read this. Okay. So now her mounted move speed is 330 to 355 based on ability rank. That's it. There's no in combat, out of combat. I totally misread that.
One movement speed, yeah.
Yep. Now her E is also getting some changes. So the movement speed no longer ramps up from 75% effectiveness over 2 seconds. The cooldown was 15 seconds. Now it is 14 to 10 based on your ability rank. The damage on it was 25 to 65 plus 50% AP plus 3% of the target's max health. Now there's no base damage. It is 5 to 7% of the target's max health plus 3% per 100 AP. So you're not really benefiting if you're only getting, one item that has a little bit of AP, the support item. Nearly as much as you were before. The initial movement speed running towards enemies was 18 to 24%. Now it's just 25%. The initial movement speed running away was 9 to 12. Now it is just 10%. And then the max movement speed running towards enemies was 24 to 32%. Now it's just 25. And the max move speed running away was 12 to 16. Now it's just 10. So while E is active, you're always going to be moving the same speed, regardless of ability rank, towards enemies, whether it's initial or at the maximum as it ramps up, which it doesn't ramp up anymore. You're always going to run away from enemies the same speed as well. Okay, so that's all the numbers with Rel that have changed. This is a pretty big adjustment, so I don't expect her to be that good this patch. Her win rate is going to be higher than it is that we see. So before, she was one of the best supports in the game. She was quite popular. She had above a 50% win rate. Now it's 47.3. So, but again, she's going to be better than that. We're one day into the patch when she's had all these changes. Realistically, she's probably slightly worse, but not insanely worse. They needed to do something with her to prevent her from continuing to be a pro play menace in her current form. So, Colin, why don't you tell us your thoughts, and I'm gonna take a drink.
Okay. Yeah. So, viewers, every time I saw Rel in a few games of Worlds that I watched, she absolutely dominated fights, and I think that this is an overall nerf, less overall CC and less movement speed, and that's basically what this whole champion is. CC and getting on top of people. So solid nerf there overall. The base stats honestly don't matter too much because let's see, they're all roughly the same. Yeah, so just less movement speed. Like the extra damage on the passive and the resistance stolen seem, negligible. So that doesn't really matter. But yeah, overall you lose it's like 0.3 seconds of CC, which isn't that much, but combined with how much harder it's going to be to get on top of people with your movement speed reductions, like it will be tough. So,
Yeah,
like,
you're probably gonna be building Swifties now. You're no longer building Mercs.
You just got to get on top of people.
Mm-hmm.
That's like if you can hit your combo in a good team fight, like that's the whole point of this character. So.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you think, Eric?
I mean, I like this. I think that Rel is not like she's good in solo queue. She's gonna be kind of pro jailed. She's balanced around pro, which she's not as much pro jailed as someone like Jarvan or Azir or I don't know, Smolder as well, who's in pro jail. But she's not as Sejuani, great example of that as well. But she's still going to be worse than she should be if we were looking only at a solo queue environment. Because she just does way better when it's like, hey, everybody, we're about to go in. Okay, cool. And then she does the whole flash WR mid air and then cues back into people and stuns them and pulls them all in. So, good.
Very strong combo.
Yeah,
Golly.
it is. So, really good. Sorry for the Rel players, but tough shit.
Have you played Rel before, Eric? I can personally say I've never played Rel.
I have. I played her. I filled in. I've played her a few times. I mean, I play her in ARAM semi often. She is.
Heartsteel?
Yeah, of course, Heartsteel,
Yeah.
full tank. But it was better before Heartsteel was nerfed because just like also Nautilus in ARAM is nowhere near as good as it used to be. Just going full fucking tank. I'm waiting for Heartsteel buffs. They're probably never gonna come, but I'm waiting for them. Yeah, but I played her in Summoner's Rift before. I played her in support. I've also played her jungle before that got changed. But yeah, if you can land the right engage, you feel so powerful. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't watch all of Worlds, but there was a few clips where team fights were instantly won because of a Rel engage. Like,
Yep.
oh, very good.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess I'll take us into Rengar.
Mm-hmm.
So Rengar has an R change, the Armor Shred. It used to be 12 to 24, and now it's 15 to 25. And the bonus damage on it was 50% AD, total AD, and now it's 100% total AD. So a lot less. I mean, that's just a good amount of damage added. I mean, I find that when Rengar presses all, there's not much of an outplay, and now it's going to be even harder to do that because the initial bursts will just be that much higher. Grant, how does Eric? Correct me if I'm wrong, but his R, the bonus damage is talking about, is on the auto attack. That essentially is the R, right?
I was just reading it. So, leaping to the nearest enemy champion deals an additional, now it's 100% total AD. It shreds some armor, and then it ends the R ability. Yep.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
That the R has some power because it's really Q where the burst is at. So
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have our resident Rengar player with us today.
We do not, but I can tell you that his win rate went from 48.4 to 45.4. So,
Is he 45?
yes, he dropped 3%.
Guys, he got better. What are you doing?
I know. Some of that's sample size because he is objectively better. There's just nothing. I mean, maybe some of we'll get to the items. Some of that may have offset it, but still, his pick rate more than doubled though. So he went from like 2.2 to 4.5. So some of that is people don't know what the fuck they're doing and they're losing on him. Some of that is items. Some of that is just the luck of the draw with games. But he is just better. There's no way around it, obviously.
Yeah, Rengar into a beefy team can be rough sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us right into our next champ. We got a Shyvana change. So the base stats, magic resist growth, decrease from 2.05 to 1.5. And the E flame breath, the damage was changed. The base damage is the same. The bonus AD is the same. And the AP ratio has gone down from 80% AP to 70% AP. Which, I mean, I don't play Shyvana, so I only have to go up against it, but I'm happy to see that with the E because that ability does so much damage.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your thoughts, Eric?
Fuck this champion. I can't wait for her rework to come out so we don't have to see this iteration of her. I hate seeing her and I hate playing her. Yeah, no.
I like that.
Yep.
Eric, did you see that Shyvana and Ambessa have the exact same run animation?
I heard that, yes. And it's true, yeah.
Yeah, look when you put them side by side, it does look kind of bad.
It does. Yep. Her win rate dropped from 50.7 with a 2% pick rate to 48.4 with a 1% or 1.4% pick rate. So she's getting close to not having enough games to be able to sample, which is fantastic. I love to see it. Okay. I will go next, and I can actually. You know what? You take Skarner, then I'll read through Smolder. Yeah.
I'll do Skarner here. So the Q damage is being changed. What we got here? The base damage is staying the same. The bonus AD ratio is the same, but it used to scale off 4% of Skarner's bonus health. Now it scales off 3% of Skarner's bonus health. So some reduction to damage there, which I mean, that is quite a bit of damage because he does build a ton of bonus health.
Yeah.
So that is a decent damage nerf, and he has gone down. I think it was like 2% or so here, 1.5%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he like playing against Skarner. Like Skarner has been super strong for a while now, so it's good to see him get a nerf.
Yep. 100%. I got nothing else to add. So I'm going to jump into Smolder. Feel free to get up and get a drink or anything, Colin, because this will take a while.
I will take you up on that.
Okay, so Smolder, all abilities adjusted. No changes to his base stats. That's really nice. Okay. Q. The base damage on Q was 15 to 55. Now it is 65 to 125. It used to have a 100% bonus total AD ratio. Now it is 130% bonus AD ratio. The damage also the damage did go down a little bit though, because it used to be plus 0.4 per dragon practice stack. Now it is 0.3. It used to do 110% damage to minions / monsters. Now it is just 100, so it does normal damage to minions and monsters. New, the Q now restores 15 mana to Smolder if it kills a unit. Only once per cast. So if you kill 3 units with it, sorry, you're only getting 15. You're not getting 45. I think this ability costs 25 mana. I need to check really quickly, just so I can make sure, because I don't think this is a full mana refund. It's like a partial mana refund. Let's see. Smolder Q 25. Okay, yeah. So you're getting 15 back of the 25. Okay. Tier 2. Once you get to 125 stacks, the additional projectiles damage used to be 75%. Now it is 50%. So pretty hefty nerf there. Also, the number of projectiles that fly out when you're at 125 stacks was 1 + 1 per 67 stacks. So you would have at least 3. Now it is 2 + 1 per 125 stacks. So as the game goes on, Q will not fire as many projectiles, nor will it do as much damage. However, you still, at 125, will still have the 3 projectiles. You actually won't get another projectile until you hit 250 stacks, so that feels bad. Tier 3, so that's still at 225 stacks, then Smolder turns online. So it used to be, the burn damage used to be 0.8% per 100 stacks. Now it is 0.4% per 100 stacks. It also used to have a 1% per 100 AP ratio on it. That is gone. There is no AP ratio on it anymore. And then the bonus AD ratio used to be 2% per 100 bonus AD. Now it is 2.5% per 100 bonus AD. So this thing will burn less overall. It does scale a little harder off of bonus AD, but overall you're getting less on base. So it's going to scale less hard in multiple ways as I've gone over. Okay. W, achoo! The mana cost was 60 at all ranks. Now it is 50 to 70. The glob damage was 45 to 165. Now it is 30 to 110 at base. So less base damage significantly. The bonus AD ratio on the 20% bonus AP is gone. No AP ratio on it anymore. Now it is it has a 25% bonus AD. It used to have that. Now it is 60% bonus AD. So this thing will actually scale much harder off of bonus AD. The explosion damage, that little mini puff of explosion, if it hits a champion, was 25 to 85. Now it is 30 to 110. So the explosion is stronger. The AP ratio is still there, 80% AP. The bonus AD ratio, though, was 25%. Now it is 60% bonus AD. So the explosion is just way better in any way you slice it. The glob damage, though, is worse. Now the combined damage against champions, that's if you add the math up, that's what you would get. I'm not going to do it. The minion and monster damage modifier, so it used to do 140% damage to minions and monsters. Now it's just 100. So same damage. It does the same damage to everything now. Okay, the E, flap, flap, flap. A new damage indicator tracks combined damage rather than individual hits damage. The number of attacks was 5 per plus 1 per 150 stacks. Now it is 5 plus 1 per 100 stacks. So this thing scales harder off of stacks in terms of number of attacks. Now the damage per hit was 15 to 35 base. Now it is 5 to 25. It used to have a 10% total AD. Now it is 25% total AD. And it used to get plus 0.2 damage per dragon practice. Now it is plus 0.1 per damage per dragon practice. So you're gonna attack more often as the game goes on, more of those, and it will do more damage as the game goes on. But early on, this ability is weaker. Okay, lastly, the R, Mom. Cooldown was 140 to 120. Now it's just 120, so flat cooldown buff. And it now does 50% damage to minions. That's been added. Used to do the same amount of damage to everything. Now it's just 50% to minions. So, TLDR, the R is up more often, does half damage to minions. The E, you are going to do more, you're going to have more attacks as the game goes on. They will do more damage as the game goes on. It's weaker earlier. The W, it's the actual Achu, the blob, does less damage, but the explosion does more damage. And it does no extra damage to minions and monsters. The Q, now you have a mana refund every time you kill a unit. It does normal damage to minions and monsters. The base damage is significantly up. The scaling is down, though, in multiple ways. So he's still going to turn into Smolder and do Smolder things. I'm not really sure how he's going to land with this. I mean, he's going to be crap on this patch, let's be real. But there's just been so many changes, so I mean, let's see, the last couple patches he's been sitting at 47-ish. This patch so far he's at 47.6, so slightly up. His pick rate has more than doubled though, so maybe he is actually better. This is in bot lane though. In mid lane, he is the worst. He's less than a 42% win rate. Last patch it was 43.4, and that's what it's been for the past few patches, past month and a half. In top lane, he also has a pick rate. He is the worst top laner. He has a sub 40% win rate, and it's gone down by 4% in top. So they're trying to force him into being a bot laner. Maybe this has done it. Maybe it hasn't. I'm not really sure. I need to play Smolder and really figure it out for myself. Colin, if you're back, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't like to see because I like playing Smolder just like you. I don't like to see that the Q damage is being nerfed, but I do like that mana refund. That is gonna feel really good while stacking throughout the game, especially in the early game. I'm happy about what seems like. I feel like people won't be maxing W as much, especially the fact that did people max W? Isn't this something that people did? I always max Q.
I remember that, like, when he first came out, people maxed W and they went Doran's Ring. They went maybe like, and then a little bit of AP perhaps as well, just because it did a lot more damage. That thing did a lot more damage than it did even last patch. It's been nerfed several times, so that's why they did it, to get through lane, but not for like a couple months, not for 3 months or so. I don't think.
Okay. But yeah, I'm fine with the W changes. That E, I think it's good that it's better late, because to me, for most of the game, this is a mobility ability, which I mean it is. It's just to get away from people, however that wall to safety, or to chase someone down. And I love the cooldown reduction on the R, but I'm not a fan of the minion damage modifier with the half the damage because there's multiple times I've used this ability to clear a wave out that's coming so I could get a better back so I have better tempo.
Yep, totally.
So that's a sad change to me.
I think it's unfair. It's not unfair. I think it's unreasonable to do this while still allowing uh, champions like Ziggs to be able to permanently keep waves away from anything, or Aurelion Sol or Malzahar or whatever. I think it's they need to do something to those rather than him. And I get maybe those are mages. That's something that they should be able to do.
But
He's
this
not
is
a
also
mage.
an ult.
Yeah, this is an ult, and also he is a mage. He's just an AD mage. That's what he is. He's not an ADC.
Yeah, you Q like late game you Q someone from a long range away because you probably have rapid fire and then they burn to death.
Yep.
Like that's not an ADC.
Yep, he's not. He's a physical damage caster. He's maybe the only one that I can think of that we really have.
Yeah, I don't have one in mind at the moment.
Yeah, I'm struggling to come up with one. That's not an
Jace,
assassin either.
that's
Yeah, Jace, sure.
is Jace an assassin?
Jace
No, the
isn't not an
range.
assassin. No, he's a caster. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like that minion damage reduction. But that's all I have to say about Smolder.
Yep. I got nothing else to say either. So
Okay.
why don't you take over?
Hop into Tom Kench.
Woo.
Give a passive change. So his passive, the base health. The base is the same by level, and it used to have a 2% per 100 bonus health ratio, and now it's a 1.5% AP per 100 bonus health, and the plus 4% of his bonus health. Okay, so AP scales worse on his passive, and then the shield strength is being changed. The base is staying the same, but the AP ratio is being changed from 150 to 100% AP. So worse to go AP, I guess. I haven't seen this in a game.
I haven't either.
Apparently,
I mean, okay, I've seen
this
people
game here,
go.
hybrid.
Sorry, I've seen people go full AP before, but I've never seen like half AP, half otherwise. Like when I play Tom Kench, I'm tempted more to go into Titanic and Overlord's Blood Mail and like AD stuff and just not care about the AP ratios on the abilities, especially the AP ratio on the R. Who gives a fuck? Who's getting through a 950 shield at all? Like you're not.
That's a good point. How
Like
long? I'm checking real quick. How long does that last?
it's
That's
like 3 or 4 seconds. It decays though. Their shield, yeah, it decays after they've been spit out. I mean, this is the same thing as Kaisa ult shield. Like nerf, like increase or decrease it as much as you want. No one is going through it. They're waiting for it to go away and then they're attacking that target. Or they're trying to and they're not getting through it.
Yeah, it's either a very bursty champ and it's ending, or people just have to wait.
Exactly.
Yeah, not much else to say on Tom Kench. I haven't seen this in game or even in any videos or anything, so not much to say about that.
Yeah, I've never even thought of it. Like, and I play Tom Kench not infrequently, and I enjoy it, but I've not even thought about that. I do think though that Tom Kench is the sleeper best support in the game right now, though, because you kind of sit in lane and stuff until you get like you get some health, and then once you have Heartsteel, you just roam around the map, get like causing chaos and getting stacks.
Yeah, very good ganking, get those stacks to scale. I can see that.
Especially if you know the limits of Tom Kench, you can just go absolutely hog wild. It's disgusting.
I want to take us into Timo real quick. Got a quick change here. His E damage to monsters, it used to be 150%, now it's 125%. And I like what Riot says here. They say Timo is a menace in the jungle right now. So that Timo's very good in the jungle. A menace. But I've seen it a few times. I haven't seen it do incredibly well. But I'm sure Timo in the right hands in the jungle with those shrooms can be devastating.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. His win rate was like north of 50. It was 50.6 ish last month or so. Now it's at 48.2. Yeah, in the jungle.
Okay.
In top lane, he was around 51.5. Now it's 50.7. Some of that is sample size. Some of it's not. He also has a decent pick rate in. Oh wait, that's not mid. Never mind. Yeah, you don't really see him in mid. I've seen him in support a decent bit lately too, though. And I don't like it because they never build right. But that's the player error, not Teemo. So, hey, turned his camera on. Love it.
You had to open up Discord, and there you were. And I was like, oh, geez, I'll turn mine on. Holy world.
I got nothing else to add for Teemo, though. So I will just jump into our last champion, which is Zac. So the Q damage has been decreased. The base damage is the same. The AP ratio is the same. However, it used to do 4% of Zac's maximum health. Now it is 3% of Zac's maximum health. This is just a top lane specific Zac nerf, as they say. This is not because he's overpowered in support or mid or jungle or whatever. I mean, this does hurt everywhere because this is not a specific thing to top lane, but yeah, so let's see. Last patch, I mean, this dropped him. So maybe not this, but he has dropped from a 52.7% win rate to 49.6. This I don't think warrants that because it's quite small. His jungle win rate went down 2.5%. Mid lane went down. There's not a lot of people that play it, but like 3%. And in support, it went down by about 1. The Q damage matters less on Zac support than it does anywhere else, but I'm surprised to see such a large decrease in win rate, especially with roughly similar pick rates too.
I mean, that 1% max health, like, it is nothing to scoff at, but like, I find that most of his damage comes from honestly, the W.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of the games I've been seeing, W does a lot of damage. Full AP or tank version.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 or 5% of their max health is what it does
And
every
you
time.
just absolutely spam that ability.
Oh, it's 40 to 80 damage plus 4 to 8% of the target's max health, and it has an additional plus 3% per 100 AP. It has a 5-second cooldown, but every time you pick up a blob, it goes down by 1 second.
Yeah, you say 8% on base?
Yeah, so it does 40 to
so
80.
high.
So max rank, this does 80 flat damage and an additional 8% of the target's max health every time you cast it before you have any AP.
If I remember correctly, I saw some gameplay of Zac, and his W to a tank was doing. I feel like the player went full AP. It was doing over 800 damage, almost 1,000.
That makes sense when
Pure
you're full
W.
AP. If it's a full tank, like let's say the tank has 5,000 health, I'm not sure. Like, and you have even let's just say you have 100 AP, you're doing 11% of their max health every W. Now let's say you have 800 AP, you're doing 32% of their max health every time you do a W before base damage as well.
That's so much.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That is fucking gross.
I guess it's okay they nerf Q then, because there's a ton of damage over there.
Yeah. Yep. All right. We have 3 items that have been changed, and some of them are big, some of them are not. Collector is 50 gold more expensive. I mean, not really a big deal. Don't really think we need to go into anything more about it. Ghostblade. So Ghostblade, the out of combat movement speed was it. So melee Ghostblade is being unchanged completely. It is for range, is being nerfed specifically. So it used to be 20 for range, the out of combat bonus movement speed. Now it is 10. And then when you activate it, the bonus movement speed duration was 6 seconds for range, as it is for melee. Now it is 4 seconds for range. Apparently, it's at the risk of becoming the preferred item for several ranged hybrid attacker casters, and we'd like to make sure that that doesn't happen. Basically, they're thinking Quinn, they're thinking Jin, they're thinking Misfortune, I don't know, several others as well that could be building it. I saw an Aphelios build Yomu's. So, yeah. And then the last one is Yuntal. So last patch they changed Yuntal. Now they're buffing it again. So the price has gone down by 100 gold. Now it's 2,900. And the flurry cooldown, that's when you attack someone, you get a bunch of bonus attack speed for a few seconds. The cooldown was 40 seconds. Now it's 30 seconds. And then the duration at which that you get flurry for was 4 seconds. Now it's 6 seconds. So flurry is better. It comes up more often, and the item is 100 gold cheaper. they're basically still trying to help it be a first item because it doesn't feel like a first item for the most part, and I don't know if this will make it that way, but they're in danger of making this item just OP as a third or fourth item slot. Yeah.
That's a solid buff. 3 different buffs in one like that. I'm gonna have to try this out in the ASO, see how it feels. Because I tried it and wasn't really a fan of what I was using.
I could see this though. You go like Yuntal in, and maybe it's weaker and like Yuntal IE or something. The problem is you don't have any base attack speed built in though with that, and you also don't have any. I don't think you have any base attack speed built in, but you also don't have any lifesteal with that combo. So like a lot of champions don't. They want something more than that. If you're not getting collector.
Sure, yeah, I didn't realize that collector was one of the most purchased item in the game.
Yeah.
I have been a believer that collector's not that great for a while.
It used to be garbage and people bought it, and I think that's maybe where our heads have been at, and then it's been good and people have still bought it. So now they're not. Yeah.
Okay.
Bounty adjustments, they're basically saying maximum on objective bounties, maximum possible contribution from gold leads has been doubled for larger gold leads. Smaller gold leads are unaffected. Okay. Champion bounties, devaluation is now more aggressive for the losing team, and it's more potent. Basically, what this means is if you're down 10k and you have, let's just use a total hyperbole, extreme example. 4 of the 5 champions on your team are 0-10 and have 100 farm at 30 minutes. So they're absolutely useless. And then you have someone who's 25-0. They're going to be theoretically worth, that 25-0 person is going to theoretically be worth less than they were before, depending on how far down your team is. His bounty, that champion's bounty, won't scale as hard, or it won't kick in as much, or something like that. But now also kills and assists contribute towards positive champion bounties 14% faster. So that's a bounce buff right there. If you don't kill someone, you don't get the bounty faster.
And the law is becoming true again.
Yep, love it.
I like that though, for people who are trying to carry their teammates to victory. They're not penalized for being the one person who's performing.
Exactly. Even if, you're down and you die once, the enemy gets 1,000 gold when they're 10,000 gold up. That just doesn't make sense.
Not at all. Good change.
Yep. I forgot to look through the bug fixes, so I'm going to do that right now. Essence Emporium is out, so go buy Chromas with blue essence, for the record, folks. Fixed a bug where Shyvana had 0.1 extra magic resistant dragon form. I love that.
I mean, she's in dragon form. She should get bonus.
She should get bonus, maybe just not 0.1. That's really funny, though.
See, that's her problem.
Pardon our silence as we scan through this. Oh, I saw this. Fix a bug that caused Vel'Koz's E to not reduce his travel time based on distance traveled. Yeah, it was doing the max distance even if you cast it on top of yourself, which was undoing a buff that they did to the champion several months ago.
Fixed a bug that caused Aurora to T-pose if she was taken down by Ambessa's R. I like it.
They finally fixed the Rumble one. Fixed a bug that caused Rumble's E to become empowered based on his current heat level instead of the amount of heat at the time of casting. So they had to recode Rumble in order to do that then.
Well, good fix.
Yeah.
Wasn't that in the game for a while?
That was that's been a thing for years, and it only became popularly aware in the at Worlds last year. So in Worlds of 23, people were noticing it, and then they just apparently didn't have a fix for it, or don't know, but it was a thing all this last year, and they finally fixed it, apparently. So, yeah. Also, side note, there's one that says fix a bug that caused Kai'Sa's voice lines to not properly play when interacting with honey fruits or when she progresses her kill count. I've been playing a decent bit of Kai'Sa lately, and I didn't know that she had voice lines for either of those.
Yeah, it's strange that I didn't know that any champ had voice lines for honeyfruit.
I wonder
Never
what
noticed that.
I'm gonna look them up after this. See what it is.
Nothing else there in bugs. A few new skins to the arcane skins. 2 Caitlyn ones to Singed, a Vi, and a Jace.
Yep,
Okay, yeah, Jason.
and
Nice.
the Jinx ruins everything game is still active as well. I don't know when it's gonna go away, but it's still active, which I'm excited about because I haven't watched any of Arcane yet. I'm gonna watch it all at once. So I haven't played any of that game because it does say that there are spoilers. So if you don't want to watch, if you're waiting to watch all of Arcane or you haven't watched it all but don't want spoilers, don't play that game then because it will spoil some of it. Yep. So, anything else before we call it?
No, league-wise, that all seemed fine. Nothing too crazy in the patch notes this week.
Yeah.
I have seen maybe this is I've seen a few streamers talking, and they were kind of complaining about how many changes are in each patch notes. I mean, this one wasn't a bad one, but some patch notes do have a lot of changes. Like, it can be they make it quite tough to keep up with, in essence.
They do, but I like this a lot more than if you go back and look at like most of the patches of like season 7, for example, or season 8 or 10 even, they had 6 changes in them, maybe like 10 at most. Like here we're looking at like probably 20 or something like that. And some of them are inconsequential, some of them are actually matter more than others, but there were times when like a whole patch was like 6 changes to champions and most of them were placebo changes. So I would prefer personally that there's more happening rather than less. It does make it harder to keep up with, and it does make it so the game is constantly changing more and more. But um, personally, I prefer that. But I totally understand that people who don't pay as much attention as us, because I mean, we know what's going on because we do the podcast. But if you're not, you have to read through and really be aware of what's happening. Otherwise, you could be playing something that's been absolutely gutted, and you have no idea for quite a
Oh
while.
yeah, why does this person have 200 more HP than usual after my combo?
Exactly.
This is why.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm all good in the league front. You mentioned the games you were playing recently, so now I wanted to do that. I have got a PS5 recently to hand me down for my brother because he got the
Nice.
Pro. So I paid a cheaper price, but got the new COD. Playing Hades the first time. That's pretty fun. And I've been playing some E. I played a little bit of E the other day. Same game as Eric, and I hopped onto an old MMO I used to play back in the day, Star Wars: The Old Republic. And
I've never played
super fun.
that. I haven't heard good things about it though.
I just like the stories that you can do,
Sure.
like the choices you can make. Like the gameplay is just kind of, it's kind of whatever. It's okay. Something the It's not nothing too great, but
Sure.
just the story, being your own Jedi or Sith. That's what catches my attention.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Speaking of older games, I last week maybe uh got on and played Diablo 2 with one of my friends as well, and I mean that game came out in the 90s, I think. When did Diablo 2 come out? Diablo 2 release date January of 2000 or June of 2000. Super
Yeah,
good
I
game.
think I played that a couple times as a young child at my uncle's house, but I had no idea what was going on. I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I played it when I was maybe like 8-ish to maybe 10, so I understood what was happening, but I wasn't good. Um, and I mean, I'm still not good now, but I understand more of what's happening and all sorts of stuff. But I remember there's the second area, like the second act takes place in a desert, and one of the missions you have to go down into like the sewers of the city that you're in and kill a whole bunch of these lightning bugs. And every time I would just be like, this is way too I mean, it is hard because every time you kill them, they shoot out lightning bolts that deal damage to you, and they don't damage the other bugs around. And you're in, it's very narrow. Like it's a 1 units all the way across, so it's just like a super narrow level all the way through the maze of it. So you're constantly getting hit by these bugs, and then when you kill them, you get hit again by them, and it's just a horde of them. It's ugh. really hard, and then also like it gets kind of scary in Act 2 from what I remembered. So
That's old games for you as well.
yeah, exactly. So I gave it up. But I also have been playing the newest Legend of Zelda game for the last like month or so,
Like the one that's
interspersed.
more like top down. Yeah.
Yeah, Echoes of Wisdom. I'm almost done with it. I'm trying to 100% it, and I only just today had to look up where in the game you collect stamps. You also collect other things, but like you can collect these stamps. It's actually kind of fun, and I could not find one of the stamps, so I googled it, and I think there's like 30 for you to get. So I found all 29 organic. I found 29 of the 30 organically, but the 30th I could not find, and it was just like in some place where I'd walked past it and hadn't seen it on the camera. It was just very like weirdly hidden in a spot. So yeah, and I have uh, one or two pieces of equipment left to get from what I can tell based on open item slots, and I need 4 more heart pieces to get the full 20 because I'm at 19 hearts. So, um, and then I'm ready to do the last bit of the game. It tells you like, hey, if you are you ready to go and fight, go into the last dungeon or whatever. If you do, you're not going to be able to return. So it's like, no, let me go back. I'm going to get the rest of the stuff and
Okay.
then I'll go in and do this. Yeah,
For sure.
done some optional bosses and shit. It's a really good game. I would definitely recommend to people who like Zelda.
I think I might have to give that a try.
Yeah,
Right now, I guess another game I'm playing on my Switch is Slay the Spire. Kind of
I've heard of
about
that.
2 years old. It's like it's a deck builder, and you just go through, face enemies, random events, and just you hope you get good RNG with some skill added together and hope for the best. And it's like a new game plus type of game, so you beat it. There's higher difficulties, and I've been trying to work through those difficulties.
Gotcha.
It's a slow and steady grind.
Yeah, this is like it looks cool. It's got like a Rick and Morty sort of animation to it.
I started playing it. Then all my friends here at home, they all started playing it, and everyone's grinding it now. So it's kind of funny that it took off.
That's super
But
cool.
and next year, I was hearing that a Slay the Spire 2 is coming out, so that's
Ooh,
fun. Hopefully they do good things with that. I
yeah.
haven't been to it, but so my brother was telling me.
Confirmed release in 2025.
There it is. Heard it here
Very
first.
cool.
We'll say. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's all that's going on with me.
Cool. Well, let's wrap up here then. So, yeah, we have community nights every Tuesday starting at 7:15 Eastern and going for as long as people are on. So please come join us for those. They're always a good, fun, chill time. It's not one of those sweaty community nights. I know that's a reason why a lot of people hop out of them, but or don't participate in those. But that's not the tone of the games that we have. We also are. I just got the info back from John to actually do the Patreon, so I'm going to try and do that over the next like week and a half or so, couple weeks, and get that back up. But also, if you have any feedback for us, please leave it in the feedback thread of the Discord server. And if you don't know how to find that server, it is linked in the episode notes every week. So, with that, we are going to wrap up for episode 865. Jesus, that's a lot of podcasts. And thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
See you later, everyone.